Welcome back to Capitol Catch-Up, your insider's guide to the marble halls of Washington. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. It is a bustling week in the 119th Congress, Victor. We are looking at a calendar packed with legislative markups, crucial nominations, and a stack of bills that could fundamentally change how Americans handle everything from their mortgage to their weekly grocery run.
That's right. It is February 2026, and the legislative machinery is grinding into high gear. Let's dive straight into the legislation, because we have a fascinating dichotomy emerging between housing and resource independence.
Absolutely. We're seeing a bicameral push on housing affordability, which, let's be honest, has been the top issue for constituents for years now. First, over in the Senate, we have Senate Bill 3599, the Affordable Choice Act, and in the House, House Resolution 7141, the Affordable Housing Guarantee Act.
These two seem to be tackling the supply-side crunch. While the text is dense, the implication is clear: federal backing to de-risk development. It reminds me a bit of the post-2008 legislative cleanup, but this time proactive rather than reactive. If these pass, we might see a surge in mixed income zoning incentives.
Which dovetails nicely with the economic focus we're seeing elsewhere. House Resolution 7401, the Small Business Lending Fraud Prevention Act, hit the hopper. This is clearly a response to some of the oversight gaps we saw in pandemic-era lending programs. It's about tightening the ship.
Speaking of economic opportunity, I was struck by House Resolution 7396, the Native American Entrepreneurial Opportunity Act. It's a targeted effort to cut red tape for tribal businesses. Historically, federal bureaucracy has stifled economic sovereignty on reservations, so this could be a pivotal shift toward autonomy.
Moving from the economy to the environment and resources, there is a heavy emphasis on security this week. House Resolution 4090, the Critical Mineral Dominance Act, is a direct play for energy independence.
This is huge, Lenny. With the rise of EV batteries and high-tech defense systems, relying on foreign adversaries for lithium and cobalt is a strategic vulnerability. This bill aims to fast-track domestic mining, but of course, that brings us to the environmental checks.
Right, which is where House Resolution 7249 comes in, the Bond Improvement and Reclamation Assurance Act of 2026. If we are going to mine more, this bill ensures companies put up enough money, bonds, to clean up the mess afterward. It's an attempt to balance that Dominance Act with responsibility.
And we can't ignore the agricultural sector. House Resolution 7142, the Agriculture Excellence and Cooperation Act, is moving through. Plus, House Resolution 7268, the Cleanup Act. The acronyms are out in full force. But I want to pivot to a bill that feels very personal to a lot of families. House Resolution 7265, the Vote-by-Mail Tracking Act.
Oh, this is essential. After the election integrity debates of the last few cycles, establishing a federal standard for tracking ballots like you track an Amazon package is a common-sense move to restore trust.
Agreed. Now, Lenny, there's a cluster of bills focusing on social welfare and specific communities. House Resolution 7267, the Produce Prescriptions for Veterans Act, caught my eye.
I love this concept. It allows the VA to prescribe fresh fruits and vegetables as part of medical treatment. It treats food as medicine, tackling chronic disease at the root. It's a holistic approach we haven't seen codified like this before.
It connects perfectly with a massive hearing coming up on Thursday, February 12th. The House Committee on Veterans Affairs is reviewing a slate of bills, including House Resolution 6047 for Veterans Benefits Expansion and the Fisher-House Availability Act.
And let's not forget House Resolution 7247, the Prison Libraries Act of 2026. It provides funding for educational resources in correctional facilities. The data has shown for decades that literacy reduces recidivism, so this is a long-term public safety play.
Speaking of public safety, House Resolution 7372, the Safety is Not for Sale Act, is also on the docket. It sounds like a consumer protection overhaul, likely targeting online marketplaces that have evaded traditional safety standards.
Before we move to committees, I have to mention House Resolution 7412, the Put America on Commission Act of 2026.
The name alone suggests a desire to streamline government, or perhaps just create more committees to study the government. It's a classic Washington move.
Exactly. Now, let's explain markups for a second. We have a markup of 12 bills scheduled for February 10th at 3:15 p.m. For our listeners, a markup is where the committee members actually sit down with their red pens and amend the bill text before it goes to the floor. It's where the real sausage is made.
And speaking of sausage making, the Oversight Committee is holding a hearing on February 11th titled Potential DHS Shutdown Impacts.
That is the headline grabber. With budget deadlines looming, exploring what happens if the Department of Homeland Security goes dark is terrifying but necessary. On that same day, the Foreign Affairs Committee is looking at the CCP's gaslighting and manipulation to marginalize Taiwan. The rhetoric there is heating up.
We also have a hearing on building an AI-ready America on the 11th. Congress is still trying to wrap its arms around artificial intelligence in the workplace. And a very specific but controversial hearing, the V-22 program update. The Osprey aircraft has had a troubled safety record, so expect some grilling from the armed services members.
On the Senate side, nominations are flowing. President has sent up names like Daniel E. Burrows for Assistant Attorney General and several U.S. attorneys, including Thomas Govan Jr. for the Middle District of Alabama and Zachary Keller for the Western District of Louisiana.
And the judiciary is getting filled out too. Brian Charles Lee for the Western District of Tennessee and Justin R. Olson for the Southern District of Indiana. These lifetime appointments are arguably the most enduring legacy of any administration.
We also saw House Resolution 7271, the Evan Anzoo Memorial Act, and House Resolution 7262, the READ Act, entered the record.
Just to wrap up the documentation, all of this activity is logged in the Congressional Record, volumes 172, numbers 22 through 26, covering late January through February 5th. If you want the verbatim transcripts, that is where you go.
So, Victor, what should listeners watch for in the next 48 hours?
Watch that DHS shutdown hearing on the 11th. If the rhetoric is hostile, we might be heading for a funding cliff. And keep an eye on the Critical Mineral Dominance Act. It signals a major shift in industrial policy.
And I'll be watching the produce prescriptions bill. It's rare to see bipartisan support for a new entitlement, but veteran health often bridges that gap.
That's all for this edition of Capital Catch-Up. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. Stay engaged, and we'll see you on the Hill.